The ceasefire brokered by Russia between Armenia and Azerbaijan to try and end a flare-up in fighting over the last 2 weeks has been breached within its first 24 hours. The two countries have a long-running dispute over the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Azerbaijan has now accused Armenia of a war crime after an apartment block in the city of Ganja was shelled. In a moment, we'll hear from our correspondent Steve Rosenberg in the Armenian town of Goris. But first, our international correspondent Orla Guerin sent this report from Ganja.
Let me see his face, she begs, one last time. She's not alone in this desperate search. Let me see, says this woman. Is he from my family? May the Armenians die, she cries. Here's what's left of her neighbourhood in Ganja, Azerbaijan's second largest city. Far from the front line, but not far enough. This is just off the main street. No sign of military targets. We saw remnants of what Baku says was a ballistic missile. It's accusing Armenia of a war crime. Well, this was clearly a civilian target. Apartment blocks, flats where people were living. There's bedding and blankets and mattresses strewn among the rubble here. The attack happened at about 2 a.m. Now, this is supposed to be a ceasefire, but it looks more like all-out war. And what happens next? Is there worse to come on both sides? Standing here now in the rubble, is the ceasefire dead?
And actually, it's hard to assess the situation. Therefore, currently we are considering the situation. If Armenia continues to attack Azerbaijani civilians, then Azerbaijan will be obliged to take necessary measures against the legitimate military targets.
You are saying that they have fired at you, and you're also saying that you reserve the right to retaliate. So which is it? Are you sticking to the ceasefire, or are you going to retaliate for this attack?
At this stage, we are trying to stick to the ceasefire regime. But of course, if they continue to do so, attacking Azerbaijani civilians, as every nation, we also have a right for self-defense.
As Azerbaijan recovered more of its dead, it too was accused of breaching the ceasefire by shelling civilians on the other side. Though the truce looked shattered today, it did not collapse. But Ganja was hit hard. Noshaba's grandchildren were asleep in these beds and were lucky to survive. But she acknowledges the pain in Nagorno-Karabakh. We are all mothers, Nushaba told me. There and here. And our hearts are aching. Orla Guerin, BBC News, Ganja, Azerbaijan.
Well, let's join our correspondent Steve Rosenberg now, who is in Goris in southern Armenia. What do the Armenians say about this attack in Ganja and Azerbaijan, Steve?
Well, in general today, Armenia has been painting a very different picture of events, saying, look, it's not us, it's Azerbaijan, which has been violating the ceasefire, targeting civilian areas. The Armenians have even suggested that today Turkish F-16 jets were in the air over Karabakh, guiding drone attacks, and that's something that we cannot confirm. But certainly the Armenian authorities insist that they are the ones who have been committed, that was agreed in Moscow. So what exactly is both sides accusing each other of trying to undermine efforts for peace, and that means ceasefire for now, ceasefire on means that the Red Cross cannot begin to do what it's been asked to do, to facilitate the removal of people who've been killed in the fighting and facilitate the prisoners.
Steve Rosenberg in Goris, Armenia, thank you very much, and apologies for the breakup on that line to Steve Rosenberg.